Welcome to another episode of Rooftop Perspectives. I'm going to tell you, even though I say this thing called time is artificial, it's very much real for me today in my world because that artificial thing called time is running tight. So this weekend, I'm not going to acknowledge any clock, any timepiece, any watch, anything. I'm going to live a timeless spiritual existence. But because I have extreme goals of content, the amount of content, the quality of the content, learning new things, tutorials, editing, doing graphics, and all those good things with the live shows, this is what it requires sometimes. No matter how much you're living on a spiritual plane, you still have to be here while you're in this body. So, unfortunately, we're in this body where we have to feed it. We have to let things out that we put in, liquid and otherwise. We require to get some sleep, exercise, and keep ourselves in good spirits. So even when you're running on crunch time, I will say I'm still very balanced. I'm not out of myself. I'm not ahead of myself. I'm not where I shouldn't be. You know what I mean? So I'm good. I'm where I should be. Now, today, I want to speak about this thing called intimacy. It doesn't mean just sexuality, but sexuality is a part of intimacy. I'm not talking about intimacy other than anything other than you and your mate, a man and his wife, a woman and her man. Those are the dynamics that I'm speaking about. Now, you could take what I say and use it in other applications, but I'm focusing on the original and that union that produces life. So thumbs it down if you don't like what I just said. True intimacy and love and connectedness will always produce life. And even if two people are beyond the childbearing years, and it's not just about that, it's about the connection they have with each other, that even beyond those childbearing years, because it's not just about procreation, but that as a result of their union, barring sickness, barring a disability, that as they get older, they can enjoy this intimacy, and it's something that enhances your life because we are made for that. We are social creatures. We are made for each other. And I know we have times in our life where it's like, well, I don't want to be with anybody right now. Of course. After you eat a huge meal at a banquet, all you can eat, do you want to go out and eat some more? No, you're full. You need to digest your food. You need to get that stuff out of you. So sometimes we go through bad situations or situations that are a little overwhelming for us or something that's not up to our liking, we do need to back away. But when you do have someone, and even when you don't have someone, these are things that you need to know about intimacy. Now, with true intimacy is something that we all seek out, whether we are hurting or not, whether we say we don't want to be bothered with anybody, we are made for that, right? We are social creatures. We are social beings. It's hard to get away from that because you have a lot of our sisters who say, you know what? I don't need no man. Okay, well, you don't need a man right now because you need to recuperate, but a real man you do need. They have men who say, MGTOW, men going their own way. Where the hell are you going without your woman? Does that even sound right? That sounds like you going off into something else that doesn't involve a woman, and if that's what you want to do, that's not what we're talking about here. We all get hurt. But I think that with the level of dysfunction in this world and the level of not having the proper knowledge to deal with true intimacy that we all want, either we're in something that we love and enjoy, and it's a self-healing thing, or it's something that we're in and we're close to the person because we can go to bed with them and sleep with them, but we don't have true communication from our heart, from one heart to another. It's not there. And that's what hurts when you're with somebody and don't understand the inner workings of true intimacy. It's a very, very important thing. And when you have it, you're strong enough every single day as a man to go out there and knock out the world for your woman. You understand? But when it's not working right, it takes away from life. It takes away, and I can flip everything to say for the woman. So I'm speaking as a man, so don't think I'm just saying it on a one-sided thing. There's most aspects are for the man and the woman, and there's certain aspects of this thing that are only for the man and only for the woman. So don't split hairs on me like that. I'm talking freestyle. I didn't write this stuff down. I'm talking freestyle from the heart like I always do. So with this type of advice, I just want to stimulate you to think, right? Just think about certain things that I put out there. I am not the authority. I have a lot of life experience, and if out of my life experience you can get something from it, so be it. I'm just throwing this stuff out. Some people say, well, you need to go down every single bulleted point. You need to research for 10. No, I throw content out there every single day to motivate, to stimulate, to get the conversations going. And any time that I talk about a topic, when you want to have a conference call where all of us who are watching the show, no matter where we are in the world, we can all call in and chime in on an hours and hours and hours long conversation, so you can have your say more than just in the chat room or more than just in the comment section of a video, which doesn't resonate. You want to hear the people's voices. So let me know when you want to do those things. Say, hey, I got a few of us together, even if it's part of your crew, and maybe I can bring some other people in, or you just want to talk amongst yourselves, or just me and you, let me know. We'll set up a conference line. Now, the conference line is going to be public. We're going to upload it. So if you want to do a one-on-one thing with me for a little while, because I have a lot of requests for that, it's not going to be long, but we can talk about certain things. I can't talk for 2 and 3 hours with like 50 different people. But we can damn sure do it in the conference line. And it's nice to be able to see everybody who follows the show bounce off of each other. See, you're bouncing off of me now because I'm in front of the camera, but you can bounce off of each other. But one thing that we need to understand as men and women, I'm not going to keep saying this through the whole thing, this goes for both, is that when we get with somebody, we meet someone, there may be some type of physical attraction. And I don't mean lust. I don't mean, oh, look at your body part, look at your backside. That's not going to work, because that's just a physical thing. That's a lust-driven thing. But you do see that they're attractive, and one thing that makes a man or a woman really look at the opposite sex and say, hey, it's the way they keep themselves. You know, the way you carry yourself, the way you keep yourself clean. Now, if you're working out on the field and you meet at first and you're building a house, or you're climbing down off a ladder with paint all over you, a person can understand that you might stink a little bit, right? You might be a little sweaty and you might be a little dirty if you do that kind of work. So it doesn't mean you have to walk around with an expensive Italian suit on and cologne or perfume and the nicest hairstyle, right? Which I don't have to worry about hairstyles. I got that razor blade, so that adds more time into my day. That's the reason why I do that. But so normally when the person observes you, usually it's just not love at first sight. Usually you meet on a job, you meet because you're crossing paths constantly, maybe in a supermarket or the park, or you have mutual friends, or you go to a gathering, an event where you share a mutual desire for something, like a task, a hobby, or something like that. There's some kind of regularity, or you just straight out say, you observe them somewhere, boom, you exchange numbers, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be, email address, and then you continue from there. But you have to understand that although they may look nice, right, and carry themselves nice, and be very meticulous in how they keep themselves and speak well, and seemingly they're not well off and wealthy financially, but they're holding their own. You find out about them. They have their own place. They have their own car. They have their own money, whether it's a job or a business, large or small. They're self-sustaining, which is very attractive in this world, because in order to get intimate with somebody, you want to know that they're not going to be a toxic dump on you initially. Like, oh, okay, you're not living, where do you live? Or you live in your mama's basement, or you're on the couch. Red flag. And when it's not lust-driven, you can back out of it, because it's not like a physical need is calling, or you're warped in how you see this person. And I find that many people who go past the red flags like that, not that you have to be a millionaire, but if you're not self-sustaining, what is so attractive about them? That's part of it in this world, that they reach a certain level of development that you can say, I don't have to teach this man anything. I don't have to teach this woman anything. They already have their own, they're already pulling their own weight, and they're probably able to pull a little more weight. So if we do get together eventually, not only can we pull our own weights, but we can take on more as far as a common goal. The common goal of maybe buying a home together, or buying a place together, or investing in a business, or doing something together. Now we're synergistic, greater than the whole sum total of the two, where our energies are like now, it's like 10 people, 20 people collectively, okay? You got to be of the same mind. But you have to understand that many of us, once we get to a certain age, the older we get, the more chances are that we have been through some type of trauma. We've all been through trauma, more or less to certain degrees. For some, what you may consider a light trauma may be something heavy for someone else. So you have to be considerate. You know, a person may have a distant cousin transition, and they're really taking it hard. But they only saw each other 3 times in the last 20 years. But you can't say to them, oh, just the last three times in the last 20 years. So what do you mean? That's not trauma at all. But trauma for you may have been where you did a 10-year sentence in prison when you were truly innocent. Well, you know, if you ask everybody in prison or jail, everybody's innocent. But this was a true situation. You went through that trauma, and it was proven that you were innocent. So this person accepts you, not that they shouldn't accept you if you did something to get in there, depending on what it is and what they want to tolerate, right? But you're innocent, you went through that trauma, you've succeeded, you've come out into this world. That trauma cannot compare to the trauma of losing a cousin, a distant cousin who you haven't seen for the last 20 or 30 years, playing with them as a teenager, depending on what your age is, right? But you can't knock the next person's trauma. That's not going to allow you to be truly intimate with them. When you're truly intimate or seek a higher level of intimacy with somebody, you want to feel what they feel and not judge them and say, no, this is not this, just because you may be a little thicker in the skin and on paper it looks like you endured more, but to them they receive it that way. So have a little sympathy, have a little empathy. When you lack empathy, you can't be truly intimate to the highest degree, because you've got to consider this person and consider their thresholds of emotional pain or past trauma. Okay? I'm going to shoot through a few points quickly because my time is short. I would have really loved to stand here for 3 hours and talk about this, but I'll go deeper, and I want to hear what you have to say in the comment section. And also I want you to take the extra step and go to this particular post on LanceScurv.com and comment there. Your comments will never be lost. If YouTube takes this video away, guess what? All of the participation and comments go away. At least we'll be able to keep talking with each other and stay in contact with each other. Okay? So, comparing traumas in a way that is not sympathetic and showing empathy destroys intimacy, because now that person who thinks you made fun of them or reduced or minimized what they went through in life, it doesn't feel too good. It actually pushes you away from them. And the person who is not sympathetic and showing empathy, that has no clue, you're not ready to be intimate with anybody. So you need to know that you need to have empathy on the next person's feelings, because a grown man strong like me, I have had people tell me things in my life that have brought tears to my eyes. I'm going to share one little nugget that I dealt with in my former marriage. I never tell anybody anything like that. But my mother had passed away. My father had passed away. A couple years went by. My mother passed away in '94. I think it's like 3-4 years later. We have our children. You know, I had one more to go with my ex-wife. And we're in a heated argument. And she basically told me to chop me down. She said, you know what, Lance? I don't give a damn what you say. These kids are mine. And you know what? You don't have any family. I have family. You don't have any family. Do you know how that hurt me? To this day, I'm like, how can somebody be so cruel? But because I'm big and strong, oh, he can take it. Men have emotions too. Of course women have emotions. And me personally, I try to be considerate of that. But you got to be careful even when you're a woman. I'm not knocking the woman, because men say nasty things to women that are very cutting. But you have to have a little sympathy on how, and empathize. Like I'm saying this to this person. This person doesn't have much immediate family, although my family is big. They're all over the place. We lost contact with a lot of people, again, because my brother got a hold of that book that my mother had with all the addresses in it. We didn't have smartphones back then, and took the book and used it to harass, to get people that she knew and he knew, because I was younger, to get money for crack. That's the reality of the situation. So when she passed away, who am I going to call? There was no putting something out on Facebook. I didn't have any phone numbers. A lot of these folks, they were older. They remembered me when I was younger. So I was in a tizzy. So there's a part of my life that has been lost. Okay, and I have lots of cousins, and from Ohio, the last name Warren, Deloach, what's the other one? So many different names, right? My mother's name from West Virginia was Johnson, but her parents died early when she was 2 years old in different incidents, but 2 years old, so she didn't get a chance to know them. So she was raised by her aunt in Columbus, Ohio, who was a teacher, Kathleen Evelyn Deloach. I've met people here online who have known her, but she passed away a couple of months before my mother did, and that hurt my mother. And that was crazy, because she passed away, her proceeds from what she had as my mother's aunt, my grandaunt, started, you know, the probate, everything, right? Then my mother passed away, then that changed everything again, because they had to redo things over for what I was to get. Crazy time in my life. So I've been through a lot, and you all didn't ever hear that kind of stuff before. Those two little nuggets, what I've been through, but I've been through a lot, and I speak through experience, right? So we have these traumas that we go through. Try to learn the traumas of your mate and walk on eggshells and be very gentle with them, and don't dismiss them, right? You don't want to do that. with intimacy. Sometimes with the physical intimacy, which can be affected by a disability. I mean, it doesn't mean you can't get busy, right? We can work around those things, but how do you feel about that? What if you, as a man, don't understand that if your wife, your woman, had breast cancer and had to have a breast removed, and you say, I accept her that way and I love her, which is a very good thing. But have you considered how she feels about herself? Because she may feel not less than a woman, but she may not feel too attractive. And she knows that you accept her. But you have to go the extra mile to let her know you are the woman that I love, and no matter what the physical goes through, you are attractive to me in your body, in your essence, in your spirit, in your sensuous energy. That's what does it for me. And if she has a scar or something, even something that doesn't have anything to do with having the breast removed, stretch marks, cellulite, she put on weight, man, that's a heavy thing on the body when you have a child, right? And you put on weight here and there, and your body sometimes doesn't snap back. The hormones are off. You kiss them stretch marks. You kiss that cellulite. You let her know whatever you are, I love you. Because the you that I love is not just the body, but the person encased inside the body. Therefore, whatever you come in, I'm going to enjoy. And that remaining breast, I'm not even being funny. You love it up just as much, but you don't just focus on that where she feels, oh, he wants that, he wants two of them, so I'm deficient. And then now, don't make any comments about women in the street to say, oh, well, you know, some men are like that. Oh, she has a nice pair of breasts. And here you are, had an operation to remove one. And this man is so inconsiderate that if he was truly into you, he wouldn't say anything like that. And ladies, don't you make no excuses for a man like that. So you love up that area where the breast has been removed, and you let her know that she is the complete woman, and remind her every time. She may not even ask you. She may be suffering silently. And don't bring it up and say, honey, do you think that, are you feeling funny because you had a breast removed? That's too rattling. Assume and just fortify, show the love. You know, give her that. Don't ask her and put her on the spot, because that's not going to work. Disabilities don't even have to be disabilities where it's something visible. I'm not saying that you are disabled because you had a breast removed. That popped into my head. But if you do have some type of disability that's visible, or, you know, something that you can see a person's going through, you love them up just as much, and you hug them, and you just don't have sex with them and get up and leave. You don't all of a sudden, if they have a disability that's starting and it's going to get more amplified, as something that there's no cure for, no remedy for, don't start ignoring them when they start to get more into the thing. Love them up even more. Spend time with them even more. If they're in a wheelchair, if they can't speak, if they had a stroke, I don't care if they're drooling out their mouth and going to the bathroom themselves in a diaper. You, and I'm speaking as a man, and the woman should do this for her man too, if that's what it is. I'm speaking as a man, but it goes for both. You wheel her around in that wheelchair everywhere you go. You bring her, you hold her hand. You show outward displays of love to that woman who gave herself to you, knowing or not knowing that this was going to be the fate of her health. You'll be blessed and blissed beyond measure. I'm getting a cough up here for some reason. Uh-oh. No, it's not that. My throat's a little dry. I should have brought up some water and whatnot. And I'm going to check my time too. I'm trying to get as much information in on this video as I possibly can. Okay, I'm going to have to bump it up a little bit. The time is running out, and I'll take a little more. But that's the thing. Show her. Don't just tell her, oh, you know I love you, honey, and you go to an event and you leave her sitting over there by herself because you don't want to be seen with her. If you had those kind of feelings, you didn't need to be in that relationship anyway, because when you really get in and commit, it's all in. Till death do us part, no matter what. That no matter what type of thing. And for those who have had to deal with that, and those who are watching, who are close to me, and I have seen this happen in your life in particular, I take my hat off to you and I salute you, both male and female. But brother, you know who I'm talking about. You know I'm talking about you. And you know who you are. The invisible man. I love you so much. And my prayers go to you every single day. And that was beautiful what you did on your Facebook page. You're a real man. You're a real man. And only real men can get real women. I don't know if I'm a real man on your level, brother, because you deserve it. I know your life, and you, we can say, well, some people don't deserve to go through. We don't know the Creator's plans and what's happening, whatever, but the Creator doesn't give you somebody and take them away forever. Keep doing what you're doing, and everything's going to be right. That I know. Much hell as I raised and done or whatever, you know I have sense at the core to know that. No matter any of my conundrums that I've been in, and every time I say conundrums, that makes me think of you because you've used that word on me when we have our deep discussions about my life. My conundrums. Oh man, don't worry, if something happens to me, you can write a few chapters and tell all. I want my book to be tell all. I don't think I can deal with it while I'm alive, even though I tell a lot anyway, right? But disability, health issues, don't let that come between you and true intimacy. That's the time when you show your love and show your intimacy. Intimacy is not just sex and getting busy. It's not just that. It's way more. That can be a part of it, but it's way beyond that, because when your little ding-ding don't get hard no more, maybe she doesn't get as moist, which all she got to do is go and pat it, and we're ready to go. But us men, that doesn't mean that even when you're, and I'm going to segue into erectile dysfunction, that when your penis doesn't get hard no more, that doesn't make you less than a man. It doesn't make you less than a man. She might have loved, doesn't mean she doesn't want you now that way, and there's going to be a bit of compromise. But sisters, don't you go on. This is something for the men, but sisters, you know, let him know and keep reassuring him and find alternative ways of getting to that point, even if you have to use a toy, right? Because he got this and he got his fingers, he got everything else. We're going to talk real about that. It may not be the ultimate of when he was doing these things with you, with what he had working naturally, because there's a lot of things against our system. The plastic containers that we drink, the preservatives and the hormones in the water, preservatives in the food, stress, being overweight, being diabetic. There's so many different things that can cause us not to be the man we used to be, but we're more than just a male when we're a man. When we're a man of principle, when we're a man of wisdom, when we're a man. So trust me, there are alternative ways. And if you have a woman who's really down, just like you down for her, if she's frothing at the mouth and you kiss her dead on her mouth and say, I don't mind about this secondary, I love you. There's got to be that kind of love to have true intimacy. It cannot be where you're out here on a superficial level. Man, I met this girl at the club, man, she had a nice ass and everything, man, a home place, man. You know, we was getting along and everything, but it just don't seem like we can be intimate. It wasn't the righteous foundation. You met her on the roundness of her ass. I'm gonna say it just like that. I say it most videos. Most dudes are like that. Or her head game tight. That's not intimacy. You can pay a hooker $20, $50, crackhead $5 or $2 or whatever it is, and they'll wax you off. Is that intimacy? And just think, how many people that you've had sex with in your life and you really don't know them? You really don't know them. Like I did the the video that was real short, and I had to word the title a certain way about the difference between a missionary position and a doggy style position. Doggy style, your head is over there, ladies. He's back here. You don't know what he's thinking. He's just looking down at your backside. There's no intimacy. Now you can be intimate and loving and do that and feel it, but people who don't want to be intimate don't want to deal on a missionary level where they have to kiss the person, where they have to be face to face with the person, down in their neck, in their ear, kissing their mouth, looking in their eyes. That shows a difference. You see some women who are doing this and they're looking the other way, they don't want to be with you. Or you kiss them and they just So you got to know. And again, it's not just sex, but it's the acceptance of the person. You got to think. Anxiety. The anxiety of a person who you may be the kind of person that in your travels, you're very comfortable with your body. And when it comes time for the intimacies to happen, you pull everything off. Well, it shouldn't be like a performance like that anyway. It should be a gradual foreplay and building up of. And sometimes in this conversation, I'll talk about intimacy and sex, but they kind of blend. There's a middle ground where they both blend, but sex is not intimacy by itself. Intimacy is not just sex, okay? But in that now, you got to understand that she may not be comfortable that way. She may want the lights to be off. She may not be as verbal. She might be quiet during the act, but she's enjoying it probably more than you. Look at her upbringing. Look at how she was raised. Maybe it was she wasn't comfortable being around the male energy other than her father. And of course, she's not going to think of her father that way. So be careful with her. Look at her upbringing. Look how she was raised. She could have been an only child with her own room and her own world and not used to being in front of. She could be a virgin, or she could not be a virgin but still be somewhat of a virgin in her experience. And since this means so much to her now, maybe she had some boyfriend kiss upon her and use a hand or put the head in or lick a little bit. That wasn't all the way, but now she's with you. And she's living with you or want to live with you, whatever stages you are. You should wait until there's a total commitment in the perfect world. If I really absorbed that, I would have not been in a lot of the messes that I've been in my conundrums, right? But I speak from experience because of my conundrums and the fact that me in my life, it was like running out in a rainstorm down the street and running back with the rain pouring so hard and coming inside and not getting a drop on me. So I said, man, the Creator preserved me. Because there's some people that I dealt with that 6 months later, they were dead from AIDS. Maybe they caught it after me. I think so, because I'm still here. My bloodstream is still clean after being checked so many times. But I'm a miracle, not because of my own power, but I've been afforded that miracle power in my life, so I must always give thanks to the Creator for being here. So as gritty as I am, I've been through a lot that way, so I can tell it like I see it and experienced it firsthand. So that's my purpose here. Maybe my delivery may not be as pristine as you may want it, but you're always going to get the raw and you're always going to get the real. But the anxiety, right, that a woman may feel, take your time and reassure. Don't rush into things. Even before the sex act comes, the energies that flow between you is actually the beginnings of lovemaking, how you flow, how you talk to her, respectfully, how you're nurturing. And see, we all like to be loved in different ways. Maybe she was violated partially when she was young, and some uncle or some strange man who was drunk and stink walked up on her and tried to jam his tongue down her throat. Be careful kissing her. If you see a sign of some type of anxiety or past trauma, don't feel as though it's you up front. Why, you don't want to kiss me? Why, you don't love me? That's a very traumatic thing. So you doing that brings back that feeling. Take your time. Don't even ask her anything. Avoid that type of contact. And she'll see, oh, he sees that I'm uncomfortable with this, but I know he wants this. Let her come out on her own pace. And then she'll begin to kiss you near the side, the corner of your lips. It'll overlap and whatever. Don't go just coming out with your tongue like a big piece of pork, like a big piece of pig tongue, cow tongue, coming down, boom. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that. And there's also the religious aspect. Was she raised in a religious household that was so very strict that she's fighting with these things and restrictions on her that really should have nothing to do with her uninhibited sex life, but maybe she didn't have a chance to explore herself. Maybe she doesn't know what she likes being touched. Maybe she is balled up and backed up with this passion, but she never masturbated to know how she likes to be touched, to know and take a test run around the body. Around the body. Yeah, a test run around the body. Like I was going to say, a test drive around the road when you're test driving a car, but a test run around her body by how she likes to feel sensations. She may not be acquainted with her body, because that was restricted. That was something wrong. You don't do that. You don't even think that stuff. They say no sex until marriage, but can't you think about it? Can't you get into your sexiness? I'm not saying this to the woman who is very inhibited, but I'm just saying for those who are in that situation before they get with somebody, can't you, you don't have to feel guilty with how you feel. There are so many young ladies growing up in these rigid religions, and I'm not saying they have to go out there and do something with nobody, but they don't even acknowledge what their bodies are telling them. The arousal, and they just hide and whatever. I'm not making fun of y'all. I'm just saying it's not a crime. The very Creator that you honor and you pray to, whatever it is and whoever it is, whatever energy it is, it's one thing. So I'll call it this, you call it that. Maybe I got part of it right and you got it all the way right. I don't know. We all breathe oxygen. We all get rained on. We all drink water. We all go to the bathroom and doodle and take a leak. We all have little one-ply accidents. We go, oh my God, I got to wash my finger before I go out there and shake somebody's hand. I say, if it's an enemy out there you have to shake the hand of, don't wash your hand. That's just a joke, right? So be considerate as to their upbringing, right? Because you just never know how their rhythm is. If they have a rhythm, they may not even have a sexual rhythm. They may not even have had an orgasm. And don't, fellas, be inconsiderate. This is another thing with intimacy and consideration. Too many men, like I'm going to slip between the intimacy and sensuality and sexuality because it's all wrapped up. Too many men are already walking around. I'm losing track of the time. Let me take a look at it real quick. Maybe this is making the video better because I can't sit here and go right? Too many men, and maybe some women, I don't know. But too many men are walking around pregnancy is going to translate into the child, and the child will react to it 10, 20, 30 years from now. That'll be their problem. If you continually abandon your pregnant woman and give her that kind of trauma, your child is going to come out always wondering and scared that somebody's going to leave them. You understand? I can go on and on with different examples. If you beat your woman and she's pregnant, well, guess what? That child is going to be in a place where they don't feel too stable, and there's a lot of fear going on, and just, or maybe getting overly aggressive to go against what they heard and felt in this, because it's biochemical, it's spiritual and biochemical. You have a son in her stomach or a daughter in her stomach, but let's say it's a son, and you continually beat her. Don't you know that son is going to come up and after a while, no, this ain't happening no more. You lay your hands on her, I'm going to have to snuff you. And you'll be like, oh man, like, oh goddamn. You know what I mean? Excuse my French. But that's the way it is. We have people who are depressed. They could be okay in the beginning of the relationship, but they can also get depressed. And that's something that you may not expect. It's like when you set up for a cookout, bright sunny day, but you don't have an awning over the food and where you're going to have the sensitive things. You know, you cover it up from the flies and the bugs and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a rainstorm comes. Out of nowhere. It happens here. There was one day I was doing a video, all of a sudden over the mountains, the clouds started coming. And they were cut like they were coming for me. I had to fold everything down and get up and get on up out of here. As soon as I got away from the roof, that's what depression can be. And it doesn't have to be set off because of you. But you, as the person closest to her, will feel the brunt of it, and you'll think she's giving you the silent treatment. You think that maybe she doesn't love you anymore, but you don't know what she's going through, and sometimes she may not know exactly what she's going through. It's not like, oh honey, I'm depressed because of this. If we get rid of this, then I won't be depressed. It's not a thing that you can push a button and know. It's a very foggy place, surreal. You know it's something, or not just one thing, it could be a combination of things. And you may not have been the reason for it. She may be trying to figure it out and don't know why. She might be trapped in it wanting to love you, but because this weight is on her so much, she can't. And now she feels inadequate. But she wants to love you, but her past traumas or things that resurface, maybe something happened to her as a child, and all of a sudden it hits her exactly what it was. My father's cousin, my what do you call it, grand cousin, second cousin, first, I don't know, second cousin I think, right? When she had me at 5 years old, a little before, a little after, searching for the candy that she hid. Now she has this white slip on when she was babysitting me, and she hiding the candy behind the couch, and she hides the candy up under her clit. Now I can't go get the candy with my hands. I got to use my mouth with no hands and stay down there because she said the candy was melting, so keep my tongue up under that clit. Are you hurting? No, keep going. 5 years old. So why do you think I have a fetish for couches and short slips and performing oral sex on a couch? That's how we are. I know my stuff. I'm not afraid to talk about it. You know what I mean? I mean, the imagery of that. In all my relationships, it may have been somebody who was laying on the couch with something short. I got a thing for this short thing and showing the legs. Bing! Oh, man. Why did that grip me? It made me overly promiscuous, right? In my younger years up until not so long ago, right? I'm not going to say 10 years, 15 years, whatever, start doing a number game, but I went through a lot of my life not really being a predator, but not being able to say no. Because certain visuals that a person presented, or even didn't have to be just that, is other things that I got in my head that I'm screwed up that I enjoyed, right? I didn't say it was something bad. Some people are like, oh, I shut down. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Maybe I'm sick for saying that, but I'm going to be real with you, right? So we have sickness. We have maybe a woman who has a physical ailment and she doesn't get moist, or her body's off a little bit and she doesn't get moist and she feels dry and is irritated, and she lets you go on already, and you can get natural lubricant, but you know, she don't feel right that it's just that. She may not even be aroused. So back up from these things and just have some consideration, because I'm not going to stay out here much longer. But you have to know that you have to be sympathetic to your mate. You have to show some empathy and understanding, and you have to be able to control yourself. In the short time, I like to stay out here for an hour, but I really don't have much time. In the short time I was out here on this shorter version of Rooftop Perspectives, I touched on some things, and what I would like you to do for me is to add in some of the things, the traumas, the obstacles, the perspectives, the things we think about that our mate doesn't think about that can be an issue. And I promise we'll do a conference call on it. We'll bring other people in, a live show. We'll bring other people in, and we'll bring it in that way. But I want you to give me a longer list over what I did off the top of my dome, so we can talk about these things. Even if it's something that you're going through, and you don't even want to make the comment next to your name to say, this is me. You can say, well, this is my cousin went through this, or a friend of mine went through this. You don't have to say it's you. I'm not trying to blow anybody up or make them reveal anything they don't want to reveal, because we learn from other people's mistakes, and we learn from what others have gone through, hopefully, because if we don't, we're going to go through a whole lot of stuff ourselves and not know how to deal with it unless we have the right people around us. Most of all, have a support system, both of you in the relationship. Not somebody who is biased is going to be on your side and against the person and make it seem like something's wrong, but somebody who has a vast wisdom and a wisdom that's wide. Not just because they're your buddy, not just because they want to hear what you're going through and laugh at it. Somebody who might be a little older, they could be your age, but they have to have wisdom and a maturity about them, and responsible with your information, and be able to give you a different perspective. But everything must be sympathetic for your mate unless it's abuse. Now maybe they're abusing you, but you trigger them off with the slick talk. You know, so you can't, I don't know what it is, but you juke it at them all the time and they snap at you. No, we're not talking about that. When we talk about intimacy and issues of the heart, really and truly, with knowing all of this, or the few things that I said, how many of us were really right to get in the union in the first place? There has to be so much that you do as far as peeling back the layers and revealing things that you like and you don't like, even situations out in the street. I'm very sensitive on how people talk to me. I am. I'm like, don't talk, because I have been verbally abused in prior relationships. Screamed at, and I'm a grown man, I'm making all this money and taking care of you, and you gonna talk to me this way? That's embarrassing. Who wants that? Especially when you earn the right for respect. You see? Now, I've heard some little 2-bit Rusty and Kirby hanging in the corner. Hey, girl, I'm going to come home. I promised the mom will get me a job, but damn, that football game tonight going to be something, ain't it? Yeah. I'm going to get that high score on the PlayStation. And she hearing you on her phone that she pays for, your dreams and aspirations are nothing but hedonistic, low-level, low-vibrational goals and desires. You think she gonna get moist for you, or you have a real set of intimacy? Well, if she was a woman of note, she would have seen right off the bat what you were and not gotten involved with you. But even still, we have our sisters, we have our brothers that y'all may meet on a certain level, and maybe not so high vibrational, but you begin to come into yourself and want to leave certain things alone. We grow at different rates. So sometimes you might not even want to do the things that your mate and you used to do. You have to leave room for growth, and you have to understand, you both have to understand that you can grow together, but you don't have to grow in the same way. But be considerate in the ways that you want to grow and the new things that you want to try out, that he or she may take as a threat, because now it's a different crowd. This person or you might be going around a more intellectual crowd because of the things you're getting into, and she may not have graduated from high school. Not that it means anything, right? It does and it doesn't. But she's intimidated by the next level type of people on a cerebral level that you're hanging around, and feel intimidated by that because maybe she doesn't have the pedigree or feels she can add into the conversation. Again, in a nurturing way, you let her know and you reassure her, I'm never leaving you, I'm here with you, I'm getting into this, but you're always going to be the love of my life, and I want you to be right there with me. I will shield you, protect you from any embarrassing moments, and help you to grow to know what it is that I'm doing, even if you're not into it like me. Boy, I'm running my mouth today. I wish I could just keep this up for the next 6 hours. My thoughts are flowing, but I got to be going, because we got to do this live show. But I promise, like I was saying to myself, I'll do rooftops 5 days a week, but I'll probably do them 7 days a week, because it's not too hard to get up. I got to go across town to go to the anthill, and I probably will get one in maybe once a week, but it's the same stuff that I'm talking. And why I can talk it is nobody going by me honking, waving, looking at me all stupid. I'm up here. There are people down there lined up across the street. They just, like, they can really hear me, but that doesn't bother me. It never really bothers me, because I have no shame anyway. You all know that, right? I only have shame to not shame the people around me who I love. But that's why there are many people who have dared me to do some crazy things, and they lost their money. because I ain't got no sense, I ain't got no brakes. But that's good, because I'm going to tell it like it is out here with all the things that I've been through, and try to keep it comical, try to keep it amusing, try to keep it where you can digest it. But I am who I am, and I really thank you, for your time here. And I would like to hear your comments on this subject called intimacy and the different things that can affect it because of our upbringing and our experiences, our trauma, our hang-ups, and just really think about past relationships that didn't work out and how maybe knowing some of these things could have helped, or a relationship that you get into now to realize there's a whole lot more than saying, will you be my woman? Yeah, okay, I'm gonna be your man, and that's it. Happily ever after. We have too many forces against us, especially in this world, the way the world is now. With this pandemic, people losing their jobs, people with their erectile dysfunction because they don't feel like a man, they don't have no money, they don't feel like a man, their manhood is challenged, they're a lot of insecurity around here. So when we find somebody that we're halfway compatible with, take your time. Take your time. If they're going to be there for you, there's no need to rush. And if you have to rush, there's something wrong. If you feel you have to rush, there's something wrong. And maybe that might not be the person for you. Because if they're for you and you're for them, and you want that one ride or die relationship, because the more you live, the more you know that many of us, and if there was a meter to tally up how many I've dealt with or whatever, and I'm not even bragging, I'm embarrassed about it really. I said, man, I could have reached a certain type of greatness if I plugged that part of my life up for the most part and gotten somewhere higher. But that's okay, because maybe I'm supposed to be here after having the experiences that I had to be able to talk to you and shoot from the hip and be able to do that in a very transparent way. I said some things in this one now, didn't I? But I'm proud of that, because somebody has to speak things on a realistic level and bear their soul partially. So you said, damn, he said that. You right, man. I was going through that too, but I didn't want to tell nobody. And we walking around with things we need to address because we don't want to sound bad or have somebody look bad. And all of us are going through something. All of us have gone through some kind of trauma. All of us need some kind of healing. And the only way to get healing is to talk about it, discuss it with your trusted few. And the only way to get intimacy is communication and transparency and total commitment. Like I always do. Salute to my brothers. Much love to my sisters. I will come back. The more of these that I do is the more animated, and I want to do longer ones. I want to flow and go daggone deep. And there's something about being under the sun in front of this camera, looking at all the beautiful things I can see and talking to my family here on Rooftop Perspectives. I wish you nothing but success in your own terms, not in a man-made natural world. Let's focus on the black community, because nobody's going to focus on us. We have too many people who are worried about everybody else, and those folks not concerned about us. Stop worrying about everybody else. And but the white people have the same problem, and they ain't coming here for you. We have been jacked up after slavery on both sides of the ocean. Folks here in Africa are jacked up in the head too. And they the ones that they didn't do it. It was a whole different, some of you sold, come on. We got all that stuff wrong. What about now? What about solutions? What about healing? Instead of the finger pointing. Because we all have been victims to a degree by that one oppressor that we love so much that we'll go after each other in the name of him, or the name of that figurehead in that religion that all of us bow down to, and we wouldn't dare tell the truth to one of those who look like that false image, because they're in our subconscious mind the God beside God, and that's the way they love it. The Creator put energy and seeds of greatness inside of you. Instead of looking outside and looking up and looking down, activate what's there. I remember having glasses on my head, tore the whole house out looking for my glasses that's on my head. I remember having a pen in my ear and tore the whole house up looking for the pen that was in my ear. Oftentimes the very answers that you seek for your questions are right there in front of your face, and you can't even see it. Meditate, look within, be real with yourself, be honest with yourself, and realize that we all have healing to do to make ourselves better every day, incrementally. LanceScurv out. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Remember, LanceScurv.com. Go to LanceScurv.com and register. That's the best place to be over any social media platform that I'm on, because I don't own it, but that I own. Anyway, we're going to be having shows every single day, and I promise after December and going through December to produce more content that will make you think, make you laugh, make you cry, motivate you to do something different as I share what's left inside of me, because I want to transition empty. I don't want to hold on to anything. I want to give everything to my people as a servant of the people, right? Thank you so much again. LanceScurv out. I love you all sincerely. Bye.
I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they say. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Can't be a real, might get you canceled. The whole system need to dismantle. Coppers treated like the utmost wanted. Tryna rule the block but don't know what goes on it. News got a story with a new take on me. Carrying out the window with the screw face on me. But I know that God love me when my burn 95 degrees and I can't get sunburn. Wonder when your government don't make me legal. Burn the whole city if I can't be equal. Get off my please, Brad, I earned that. 400 years, how you still ain't learned that? I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I'm tryna do more for the soul, way less for the bread. Yes sir. I take pack to the lung, kill the stress to the head. I see the things that they do way less than they say. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Cause it's a war on the real, baby, look outside. A war on the real, baby, look out. Shout out to the trying to gentrify the genre. Tell them free my middle finger to your honor. End of days coming down the seconds on the timer. Goofy still trying to purchase that design.